Tunnel Runner for the Atari 2600 is a unique and engaging action-adventure game that places you in a maze-like environment, tasked with avoiding enemies and navigating through a series of tunnels. Released in 1983 by Atari, it is one of the more obscure, yet intriguing titles in the console's library. While it may not be as well known as some of the system's more iconic games, Tunnel Runner offers a compelling challenge that fans of maze and action games might appreciate. In Tunnel Runner, you take control of a character who must explore a maze of tunnels, avoiding enemies that chase after you. The game is split into different levels, and each level presents a more complex layout of tunnels filled with hazards. The goal is to collect points and reach the exit while staying alive. The key to success in Tunnel Runner is managing your movement and making use of power-ups that occasionally appear. The game utilizes a first-person perspective, which was quite innovative for the time. However, the graphics are extremely basic, and the limited color palette can make it hard to distinguish important elements in the game, especially when navigating tight corridors. Still, the concept of being able to move freely in a maze was a refreshing twist for Atari 2600 owners, and its simplicity makes the game accessible, albeit repetitive. Graphically, Tunnel Runner takes a minimalist approach. The corridors are represented with crude lines and blocks, and the character design and enemies are basic, yet functional. The lack of detailed visuals might be disappointing to players accustomed to more intricate games, but it's important to keep in mind the hardware limitations of the Atari 2600. The game's audio is similarly basic, with a few repetitive sound effects that signal when enemies are near or when you collect items. While functional, the overall sensory experience isn't particularly immersive or memorable. The difficulty in Tunnel Runner ramps up as you progress, with enemies becoming more aggressive and the maze layouts growing more complex. There's a decent level of challenge to keep you engaged, but the lack of variety in the game's objectives can lead to a sense of repetition after a while. Each maze essentially boils down to dodging enemies and finding the exit, which could get monotonous for players who are seeking a more varied or dynamic experience. The game does offer some replay value for high-score hunters or those who enjoy testing their skills in a competitive environment. However, its appeal is somewhat limited due to the repetitive nature of the gameplay. While Tunnel Runner might not be a groundbreaking game for the Atari 2600, it does hold a unique place in the system's library. The first-person maze navigation concept was ahead of its time and provides a different experience compared to many other Atari games. The simple yet effective gameplay will appeal to those who enjoy the challenge of maze puzzles and avoiding enemies, though the repetitiveness and basic visuals will turn off some players. Overall, Tunnel Runner is a fun, albeit basic, title that is worth checking out for fans of retro gaming or those curious about lesser-known Atari 2600 games. It's a game that provides a bit of nostalgia for the early 80s gaming era, but modern players may find it too simplistic and repetitive to fully enjoy for long stretches.